Anything else? If you want to discuss any other problem, ये तो हमने सुन लिया. चलो, we don't have any notes regarding laboratory animals. First point, or any other point? Okay, I am then sharing screen regarding laboratory animals. Is it visible to you? आप देख पा रहे हो?
Yes sir. Yes sir, देख पा रहा हूँ.
So this class is basically for objective purpose regarding laboratory animal disease. So first of all, this disease which you are well acquainted, टाइटस disease आपको पढ़ाया भी गया है. और second thing is that it is also important. ये आपको पढ़ाया भी गया है, plus it is also important. So regarding both point of view, you must go through this disease. So first of all, Tyser's disease is caused in rodents and rabbits. सबसे पहला ये है कि it is a disease of rodents and rabbits and it is a clostridial disease. Which bacteria? Clostridium pyliforme. Formerly it was called as Bacillus pyliformis. Nowadays it is called as Clostridium pyliforme, which is a obligate intracellular gram-negative bacteria. Most important thing is Tyser's disease is caused by Clostridium pyliforme affecting rodents and rabbits, and the bacteria are obligate intracellular and gram-negative in nature. The name Tyser's disease has been taken in the honor of the scientist Tyser, who first recorded it in Japanese mice. So from there, term Tyser has been taken in the honor of the scientist. And regarding pathogenesis, most important subtopic is pathogenesis regarding Tyser's disease. So it is, Clostridial bacteria forms spores. So affected animals, the animals which are affected will pass on the spores in their feces, and this feces in the environment in the soil can survive long. They are highly durable and do survive long. And infection to other rodents or rabbits occur by ingestion of these spores. These spores are ingested accidentally by some other rodents or rabbits and they get entry inside the intestine. After ingestion, the spores are phagocytosed by the intestinal phagocytic cells. In the intestine, the phagocytic cells phagocytose the spores, but these spores are not getting degraded by the phagocytic cells. They escape forming phagosomes or phagolygosomes and replicate in the cytoplasm. Therefore, they are called as intracellular obligate parasite. They have the ability to replicate inside the cell, and inside the cell they replicate and lead to destruction of the cell, formation of the toxins, exotoxins. Being gram positive, it will secrete, sorry, gram negativity is written there. It will secrete exotoxins, and these exotoxins will lead to necrosis of the intestinal epithelial cells. After that, they can be sedated in the fecal material, or they may get deep into the intestinal wall and reach into the body circulation through portal vein. This portal vein carries the spores from the intestine deep inside the body, even into the liver or heart, sometimes causing hepatitis and occasionally myocarditis. So, not in very detail, it is just a summary. So, it usually affects the recently weaned mice. It is not usually seen in the adult, but in the recently weaned mice, which have recently not suckling their dams, and those who have some immunodeficiency. Those type of rodents and rabbits are usually affected. And the most important finding is that abdomen is distended, particularly in rats. It is not seen in case of mice, but in rats, you will see that the abdomen is highly distended due to megaloileitis. That is, the ileum is highly inflamed and become thick, swollen. It leads to distension of the abdomen. There may be diarrhea and sudden death can occur. So this was regarding the symptoms. Regarding lesions, the main lesion is found in the intestinal tract, that is the ileum, cecum or colon, which may be hemorrhagic, inflamed, reddened and enlarged. And in microscopic view, you can see degeneration of the intestinal epithelium, denudation of the intestinal epithelium, necrosis of the intestinal cells, and even this muscularis mucosa. You can see the cluster of organisms founding in the deep submucosa. Also in the liver and heart, you can see necrotic changes along with infiltration of inflammatory cells, particularly WBC leukocytes. Particularly leukocytes, not neutrophils. It is particularly leukocytes. And most important is this: in the histopathology, section, when you stain it with Warthin stain or Giemsa or PAS, you will see intracytoplasmic these bacteria. Since they are obligatory intracytoplasmic organisms, bundles of these bacilli can be seen in the cytoplasm. So this was in very summary regarding Tyler's disease, and no doubt it is going to be very important to go through it. Uh, next is disease is pseudotuberculosis. So not in much detail. Uh, since it resembles in lesion and symptoms with the tuberculosis, it is called as pseudotuberculosis. It is not tuberculosis, but it resembles with the tuberculosis. Therefore, it is called as pseudotuberculosis. Also, it is not caused by Mycobacterium. It is caused by Corynebacterium, and particularly in rodents and rabbits, Corynebacterium katschieri. Katschieri is the species which leads to formation of tubercle-like nodules, particularly in the liver, kidney, and lungs. So, just from objective point of view, remember that pseudo tuberculosis is caused by Corynebacterium katschieri. Next is pustulosis. Also from objective point of view, as the name suggests, pustulosis is caused by Pasteurella multicida, a gram-negative bacteria, and particularly it affects rabbit. In rabbit, the different manifestations are: first is snuffles. What is snuffles? It is rhinitis, sneezing nose. Snuffles is actually a sneezing nose. It also causes wry neck. The problem is in the eye, middle ear, in the otitis media, middle ear. It will lead to wry neck, twisting of the neck. The problem in the ear, problem in the nose, and problem in the eye also leading to severe conjunctivitis, which is called as VPI. It seems that the rabbit is weeping, therefore it is called as VPI. So changes will seen in the nose, in the ear, and in the eye, and it is called as snuffles, rhinic, and VPI respectively. Along with these changes, the lungs, the genital organs are also affected. Sometimes it leads to septicemia, causing damage in the different visceral organs. Usually, this bacteria harbors the upper respiratory tract and tympanic bulla of the ear. So they can be natural inhabitant of the upper respiratory tract and the ear. From objective point of view, blue breast is also important. So what is blue breast? It is gangrenous manifestation of the mammary gland. The mammary gland becomes gangrenous, therefore it appears bluish greenish, therefore it is named as blue breast, and it is due to Staphylococcus species. So the changes is basically seen in the mammary gland, where it becomes cyanotic and hardened. So remember that blue breast is caused by Staphylococcus species. Pus formation can also take place in the later case of a disease, that is chronic form. You can see pus in the mammary gland. Next is trypanomatosis, that is infection caused by Trichomonas, a spirochete. Therefore, the disease is also called as venereal spirochetosis. It is very common that these trypanoma are venereal disease, sexually transmitted disease, and it is similar to syphilis in humans. Therefore, it is also called as rabbit syphilis or venereal spirochetosis. Trypanomatosis is also called as rabbit syphilis or venereal spirochetosis, and you know that it is sexually transmitted. And remember the species of trypanoma causing the disease. It is Treponema paraluis puniculi. Paraluis puniculi. So you have to remember the species also, and it is characterized by crust formation over the genital organ. Next is introtoxemia. So what is introtoxemia? Introtoxemia is the enteropathy, changes in the intestine basically due to Clostridial species leading to diarrhea and sudden death. Most important Clostridium bacteria leading to introtoxemia in rabbits is Clostridium spiroforme. Clostridium spiroforme causes rabbit introtoxemia. So you have to remember this. Next is infectious ectromelia. Infectious ectromelia. What is ectromelia? Ectromelia usually means amputation of the limbs. Melia means limbs. Ectrom amputation, removal of the limbs. So it is due to some infection which causes removal or amputation of the limbs, and it is seen in mice usually, leading to higher mortality and limb amputation, and it is caused by mouse pox virus. The disease, the pathogens gain entry only by trauma, neither by ingestion or inhalation, but only by trauma. It can lead to, most important, uh, swelling and dry gangrenous of the extremities. Therefore, there is amputation of the limbs. So most important is this ectromelia. Other than this, you can see in the spleen. In the spleen, there is there you can appear a mosaic pattern. Mosaic pattern, like marbles in your house. It appears like similar to that, and it is called as mosaic pattern. So if the spleen is showing mosaic pattern even with a naked eye, it is a case of infectious ectromelia. And this is the most important part. There are two types of inclusion body you can see, type A and type B. Type A inclusion body is also called as Marshall body. Type A inclusion body is also called as Marshall body, and it is seen in only in the epithelial cells of skin. Type A inclusion body is found only in the epithelial cell of skin. It is acidophilic and intracytoplasmic in nature. But type B can be seen in any affected cells, any infected cells, and it is basophilic intracytoplasmic. A is for acidophilic, B is for basophilic. A is only found in epithelial cells, and B can be found in any infected cells. Next is lymphocytic choriomeningitis. Lymphocytic choriomeningitis. That is, it is a rodent born, that is due to by the bite of the rodents. Viral infection. The virus is lymphocytic choriomeningitis virus, and it is characterized by meningitis, encephalitis, meningoencephalitis. That is, it leads to nervous manifestation. Choriomeningitis is a nervous manifestation, and it can be transmitted both horizontally and vertically. The transmission is both horizontal and vertical, and the manifestation is of nervous signs. You can see the tremors, convulsions in the head and legs. Next is coccidiosis, much important. So, in rabbits particularly, you know, coccidia usually inhibit the intestine, but in case of rabbit, they can also affect the liver. Remember, in case of rabbit, coccidia can also affect liver other than intestine. The species leading to liver damage, that is hepatic coccidiosis, is called as Eimeria std. much important. Eimeria study leads to hepatic coccidiosis in rabbit. Regarding intestinal damage, there are various species. Some leads to mild changes, some leads to moderate changes, and some are very pathogenic. Some are very slightly pathogenic, some are moderately pathogenic, and few are highly pathogenic. So must remember the names of these Eimeria species, which is low pathogenic, which is moderately pathogenic, and which is very pathogenic. Say for example, Eimeria media, Eimeria casecola, these are slightly pathogenic. Moderately pathogenic, Eimeria irresidua, Eimeria pyriformis, Eimeria magna, these are moderately pathogenic. And very pathogenic, Eimeria intestinalis, Eimeria flavescens. So give some time to this topic and remember the name of the species which are highly pathogenic, low pathogenic, or moderately pathogenic. Next to this is some ectoparasite, that is mite infestation. So basically two types of mange. One is sauroptic mange and other is sarcoptic mange. One is sauroptic mange, that is caused by Sauroptis cuniculi. Sauroptic mange is also called as ear mange. It is also called as ear canker. It is also called as Sauroptic scabies, and it is due to Sauroptis cuniculi and most common in rabbits. In heavy infestation of the sauroptic mange in the ear, you can see foul smelling bran like crust. So in heavy infestation of these mites in the external ear, it will lead to foul smelling bran like crust. So it is important. Next is sarcoptic mange. It is due to Sarcoptes scabiei. Sarcoptes scabiei leading to intense itching, pruritus, loss of hair, alopecia, emaciation, and death can occur due to cachexia. In some animals, it leads to hypersensitive reaction causing hyperkeratosis, seborrhea, and hair loss. So I think this was one also there is, that is papillomatosis. You know papilloma, it is a benign tumor commonly called as wart. Papillomatosis is a benign tumor, commonly called as wart. It is similar to animals, humans, or laboratory animals. It is due to papilloma virus, which is a DNA in nature, and this wart is due to formation of proliferation and formation of papilloma lesions. That is, it leads to proliferation of the epithelial cells. Proliferation of the epithelial cells, therefore, there will be formation of finger-like projections over the skin. Papilloma means nipple-like, finger-like projections over the skin. That is called as papilloma. It is a benign tumor. In rabbit, two manifestation is there. One is cotton tail rabbit papilloma virus, and other is the oral papilloma virus. So cotton tail rabbit papilloma virus will be seen in the skin at the tail region, leading to horny wart-like lesions, and oral papilloma virus naturally will be found in the oral cavity. And most important, uh, it is rarely seen that any tumor is being transmitted by any mite, but in case of rabbit papillomatosis, transmission is by rabbit tick. The rabbit tick transmit this papillomatosis wart. So this was all about, in nutshell, regarding laboratory diseases for rat, mice, or rabbits. So